This is my first video that I'm making in a long time, and this is going to be one of the most difficult videos for me to make up to this point. And I really don't think that too many people are going to care about what it is that I have to say. But one thing that I want to make clear is that I have no intentions of ever harming myself or doing anything to hurt myself or other people at all, period. Even though sometimes I might think violently, I wish to inflict no violence on anyone, and I don't wish for any violence to be inflicted on me, even by myself. And with that being said, I have to talk about something publicly, and I did announce it on Facebook so far, but I haven't really announced it publicly, like where I'm talking about it, where everybody can see it coming from my mouth and they see that it's from me. And I'm just gonna say it. And I'm a little bit scared and I'm a little bit ashamed, and this is still all new to me, even though it does feel like a ton of bricks have been lifted off of my shoulders making the decision that I made. And this is hard, but I'm gonna get through it. I made the decision to denounce Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Now, if you've seen my videos for the past several years, I've made hints about the organization that I was talking about. I made hints about some of the things that I went through in that organization when I was a part of it. And as a matter of fact, I'm just a few days away, as of this recording, just a few days away from what was going to be my 9-year anniversary in crossing. And I sacrificed a lot to be a part of that organization. I barely had any money during the time that I was going through my process. And I sacrificed all the money that I had in my savings left, because I had just finished college. So I didn't have a lot of money in my savings, and I sacrificed all that, sacrificed a lot of time. There were things that I allowed to happen to me during that process that I'm not gonna talk about. You know what's been talked about by other people. And I'm not gonna put my personal business out there about what happened. That's between me and the people that were involved. And I'm not innocent by any stretch of the imagination, because even though I wasn't 100% led on how the process was gonna be from the beginning, I still allowed myself to go through whatever it is that I went through, along with the other people that I went through it with. So I have to take accountability for that. I don't blame them for that. I was looking for people who could accept me for who I was as a person, looking to network, looking for opportunities to get a high-paying job so I can establish myself in the world, find the type of woman that I wanted to find, and, you know, start a family. That's the reason why I joined. That was the honest reason why I joined. But individuals found out certain weaknesses that I had, certain fears that I had, and they used it against me. They knew the type of women I wasn't attracted to, and they tried to put those women on me very harshly. And I understand that part of it is my fault, because I was trying too hard with the women that I actually wanted to date, and I was failing miserably at it. And I can admit that. I can admit that maybe I was coming off too strong. Maybe some of them saw me as being creepy or whatever, or being a simp, or being, annoying, or however they want to put it. Like, I grew up in the inner city with a single mother, and I don't want to blame her totally for it, but she didn't know how to raise me to actually understand how things work in life. I didn't have my father around really too much. I didn't live with my father until much later in my life. And then I start understanding how things really are without the rose-colored tint glasses. And when they got a hold of me, I was still very gullible. Even though I was in my early to mid 30s, I was still gullible, thinking that I could still work my way into pleasing those that don't want to have anything to do with me. And they used that against me. And they kept me hooked up with it. And even though I crossed or whatever, it was always this underlying thing where they let it be known that I still had to prove myself, even above the other guys that I went through with. I was always trying to prove myself. I was going to all the events. I was doing all the volunteering that they wanted me to do. I was already under stress with my personal life. I was struggling with keeping a job. I was struggling with, like, keeping my sanity, and I had to deal with all that, as well as trying to prove that I'm a good person. Even though I was supposed to have proven myself to be a good person, I wasn't treated as such. And I will say that there were people that tried to set me up in that organization, and not all the people in the organization are bad people. I met some really, really good people. I've even met people after I went through my public humiliation that were good, that was trying to get me to come back on board. But my experience with it and what I've seen while I was in, it just disgusted me to the point to where I couldn't even think about going back anymore. And I took years of being away to actually think about it. I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of fear and anxiety about my decision even before I made it, because I'm like, what if these people try to hurt me? What if they try to find me or do something to me, threaten me? I don't want any problems with anybody. But at the same time, I don't believe in what it is that I joined at all. And I had to make a change. I had to make a change to get this burden lifted off of me. Like, I believe in the Most High. And this wasn't a religious decision, even though it should be a part of why it is that I decided to denounce Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, but that religion had nothing to do with it. No, it's that I wasn't told the full truth. And I was told that, and I'm going to be careful. Like, one thing that I heard was that nobody's A is bigger than the other person's A. Like, we're all alphas. But when you go into the actual understanding and the actual practicing of it, you see that that's not necessarily the truth. And you have certain individuals that have some pull, that have some status, that know people, that will try to punish you and try to put the word out about how bad of a person you are because you're not doing what it is that they think that you should be doing. Or they think that, oh, you think too highly of yourself. And then if you don't like a certain person and they are pursuing you, and it's a woman and you're a guy, and they consider that you don't have enough charisma to get anything better than what it is that they're pushing forward to you, and that you're still saying no, and you're saying, no, I don't find that person attractive, I just want to be left alone, they'll call you a bully. if you just say no to that person. And this whole thing got really ugly for me. Like this, one thing that I can say is that it did help me grow as a person to where I had to learn how to love myself, and love myself properly, to being comfortable with being me in spite of if everybody else in the world don't like the person that I am. That I had to get to the point to where I had to love myself enough to be who I am. I had to love myself enough to say that if even my parents don't like who it is that I am as a person, that I have to be comfortable enough to still be me. I had to deal with a lot of rumors that spread about me, a bunch of lies that spread about me that are still going on 6 years after everything done happened. And the residuals of that, even though I've pretty much recovered enough to where I'm living a stable life and I'm not dirt poor, I'm not rich by any means of imagination, I've been looking for different avenues to get wealthy, but I'm at the point in my life to where I need to learn how to just be happy where I'm at and be comfortable where I'm at and take the time to just develop and grow into the person that I'm supposed to be without trying to force things. And I'm getting out of trying to force things because I'm trying to live up to society standards for somebody like me, even though I'm already not meeting the standards of society. And I had to just come to the realization that maybe God doesn't want me to meet the standards of society. He wants me to focus more on myself and getting better and healing the parts of myself that I need to heal in order to be better in the future. But just focusing right now on healing those parts of myself that cause me to get in situations like that I'm talking about. Like I spent my whole life searching and fighting for approval. And the only thing that I got out of that situation is a lot of hurt and disappointment. And this isn't just with joining organizations. This is with friendships. This is with family members, even immediate family members. And I just had to come to the realization that I can't focus on things that I cannot control. I can only control myself. And this is hard. This is like, I don't think that people understand how hard this is for me to come public and talk about this and express myself honestly. And it's a lot of women who know who I am that heard the bad stuff about me. They probably enjoy the fact that I'm going through this or I'm saying all this stuff, because in their minds, they like, well, this is him humbling himself, and the cracks of who he thought he was is starting to crumble. And so maybe he'll wisen up and do what it is that we want him to do. And no, it's not happening that way either, because I have too much knowledge about what's going on now, and I know where I fit in, and I understand that it's up to me to improve the things that I need to improve for myself. But if I can't improve them, then I have to do the best with what I got. And if I'm in a situation that I don't like, I don't have to accept it. I can stay by myself. I can keep to myself. I'm okay with dying alone if that's what's going to happen to me, because in honest reality, the majority of us are going to die alone, even if we are in relationships or married, Like, I know somebody who, and I don't want to give too much information about this individual, but he married a woman that had 6 children. He didn't have any. And she was 15 years his senior. And he loved her. He loved her a lot. He dealt with her children, as crazy as that they acted, and they didn't respect him really as being a stepfather. I was really close to him growing up. And he did everything that people say that they need men to do in society, like step up and take care of children that's not theirs. And now he is in his 70s and he's still alone in a nursing home. So all this bullshit about what it is that people need to do in order to be successful, nobody knows. They only want you to do what it is that they're trying to do, what they want you to do, so they can have control over you. Even when they know you don't want to do it. If they can get you to do stuff that you don't want to do and act like you like it, they know that they have full control over you. And no person is supposed to have full control over you. However, I understand that there's times in life when you have to submit. Like when you're working at your job and they want you to do certain things, even if it's hard, you don't know how to do it, you got to learn how to figure it out, get some help if you can, and do what it is that they want you to do so the job can be completed. I mean, and I mess up at my job sometimes. I'm not perfect, but I'm still learning. I'm still doing the best that I can, even though sometimes it can be stressful. But I was in a situation where it was a lose-lose situation because I was still giving my all. I gave my all. I found myself in 2020 barely able to walk, in physical therapy, being mocked publicly, broke, nobody cared. You know, that right there taught me a lot. It taught me that I was gullible. It taught me that I wasn't as educated as I thought I was. It taught me that I didn't know God the way that I thought I knew God. And it taught me that any opportunity that I had to get out of that situation to where I could see myself doing better than where I was doing at that point, I needed to take it, and I need to humble myself, and I needed to do the best that I can to move to the next level. And guess what? I did that. I did that on my own. I did that without the support of the so-called brothers that I was around. You know, I built my money up. I saved. I got myself out of debt. I got my passport. I ended up with enough money to where I could travel and go on vacations. You know, I've dated women in different countries. Be it they weren't successful, but it was better than what was happening here. But I'm just saying all this things that I'm saying is that I allowed myself to get treated a certain way, to be around people that I didn't need to be around, that I didn't fit in with. And I'm not calling them people evil. I'm not gonna say that these are just like downright devils or anything like that. Like some of them, I very much highly respect them, even the ones that distanced themselves from me when I was going through a rough time. I'm not gonna diss them, you know. But at the same time, I know that I didn't fit in. I didn't belong. It wasn't where I was supposed to be at. And if it was where I was supposed to be at, I would still be there. And this is still hard for me because I had to understand why they allowed somebody like me in. Somebody who lacked charisma, somebody who wasn't that good looking. Even though I'm not ugly, I'm not like super duper handsome. I'm not that tall. I'm not morbidly obese, but I could stand to lose weight, but I have health issues and disabilities, so it's hard for me to lose weight. And that's not making any excuses. And I had to realize that there's certain people that they allow in to do the grunt work that it's never gonna get any type of real respect. You know, these people are just the people to do what we tell them to do, shut up, you know, act like they having a good time even though they not. You know, it's to wear the letters and you have the privilege of wearing these letters just so we could treat you like crap. And in their minds, they'll say, oh, no, it was never like that. They'll never admit that publicly, but they know in their hearts that's the way that it is. And I don't have a fucking reason to lie about that. Not one. I'm serious about what it is that I'm saying. I have not one fucking reason to lie. But they tried to tear me down, even after they tore me down during the process, and they know what the fuck it is that they did. But they wanted to make an example out of me. They wanted to use me as a fucking pet project. And they almost tore me up. It almost made me crash out. But the Most High helped an ignorant fool like me who thought he was educated to where I could see how it is in society. I could see what it is, the position that they thought I should be in, and the fact that I was fighting it meant that I wasn't meant to be in that position. And I'm still here. I'm still standing in spite of everything that happened. And I'm thankful to the Most High that I went through all this. So I will never, ever experience anything like this again. You know, it was another guy that he was there in the beginning process of when we were starting the line. Like, he had been there years and years prior to me showing up. And it didn't make sense to me why they would let me in and not him, because he had experience. He was successful. He owned 2 houses. He did real estate. He did photography. He was making money. He had a girl and had a child. They were thinking about getting married at the time. Like, he was doing good for himself. I'm not going to say his full name, but his name was Yarnell. And I remember when they decided not to let him in, I was upset because I'm like, this dude know way more than any of us that was up there. But they still didn't let him in. And I remember, this is going to be hard. This is going to be hard because I have to tell the truth, even if it pisses people off. His mother died of cancer during this time. His mother died of cancer. In spite of that, in spite of him knowing everything, in spite of him having the success that's needed, he had charisma, way more charisma than I did. They still denied him coming in. Right then and there, I knew it had to be some type of bullshit going on, but I wasn't privy to the information because I was on the outside looking in myself. I could tell you things that I've saw after I crossed. And I'm not innocent either. So that's the reason why I'm keeping a lot of things to my chest. I'm going to have to deal with this when I see God when I die. So don't think that, oh my God, don't think that this is easy for me. And there's going to be people that see this video and think I'm capping or I'm lying. And I don't give a fuck. Because they thought I was lying when, I was saying that I was going through physical pain and going through therapy. I had my name lied on, and people believed a lie that was told on me. I had this woman who I didn't like harass me for a fucking year while I was going through this shit. Because she wanted somebody that she could control. Whew. You just don't know. You just don't know. That's why I'm the way that I am. That's the reason why I travel. That's the reason why I'm trying to find my tribe outside of this community that I grew up in. Because I know that the majority of people that I grew up around don't like me and they wish I wasn't around. So I'm doing the best that I can to remove myself from the situation before I blow up. This right here is one of the hardest videos that I had to make. And I don't know how people gonna take me, how they gonna receive me, because I'm pouring out my heart on something that, some people never understand where it is that I'm coming from. Some people know where I'm coming from, and they'll say, hey, he got a lot of guts to tell the truth in his own way about what happened. Some people gonna hear this and say, damn it, this dude, he's talking too much. We want to do something to him, but we can't. Some people gonna say I'm flat out lying. And I have to accept that. I have to take this feeling that I have, these feelings that other people had towards me, and I had to hold myself accountable because I made the dumbass decision to join this shit when I shouldn't have. At the time, I did need people. I did need support. And I'm not going to lie, I did need people to support me, to tell me that I was good enough and things like that. And I thought that's what was going to happen, but it didn't. And then I had to learn I had to do that stuff on my own. It changes my perspective on a lot of things. There's a lot of things that I didn't understand that I understand now. Like, I understand why the King family charged Alpha Phi Alpha millions of dollars to build that statue of him in Washington, D.C. Why they didn't just let him do it for free. I understand. And I'm going to leave it at that. Because if I say any more than that, there's going to be some issues. But let it be known that I have no ill feelings towards anybody. Anything that was done to me during this process is my fault. I take 100% responsibility for that. I even take responsibilities for the things that I participated in that I shouldn't have participated in. But this is what I had to say. I denounce.